the ordinary Saturday has turned into a nightmare for some 15 million residents of Metro Manila. From posh enclaves to shanty colonies, no one was spared. Entire communities were submerged. Major thoroughfares were unpassable. Power and communications all failed. No one had expected this to happen. A large number of staff from an international development finance institution were themselves affected. In fact, one of my colleagues who joined me here, Flor Vargas, who's sitting right here, is a victim herself. Her house was submerged under floodwaters. Well, if you haven't been in Manila, ADB is situated in the headquarters of the Asian Development Bank is situated in Manila. We are the largest employer of expatriates in the Philippines. Some 55 nationalities make up 2,600 plus staff. So we had to worry about them on that day. As I sat alone in the operations center, I was alone then, it was getting dark. My supervisors and my senior directors were unable to get to the office, the emergency operations center, primarily because some were stuck in an airport or they are at home and they cannot make it to the office. So I was sitting there all alone and I felt helpless. I didn't know what to do. Primarily because I was getting reports that some colleagues were still trapped on rooftops and they were asking for help. I couldn't do anything at that time but coordinate with my former colleagues at the National Disaster Coordinating Council. But having spent 9 years in that office, I knew that help will not be forthcoming. I know with the magnitude of that incident, their resources were just overwhelmed. I sat there and I was thinking, and I had the dilemma. ADB does not have the resources to get to our staff. We do not have rubber boats, we do not have rescue equipment, and with the fact that government will not be able to do anything at all at that time. So what do? Sit there and accept that, no, we can't do anything, it's not our mandate, or do something about it. As an emergency manager at that time, I thought that lives were important. That was my personal opinion. We had to do something. You probably will see a map. I immediately went to this staff mapping project that I did 2 years ago. It's a big, huge wall map, something like this wall behind me, 8 feet by 16 feet. Map Metro Manila, and in 2 years' time, I was able to plot out all the residences of all our staff. Color-coded. Those that are red are local, those that are blue are expatriates. So I had an idea of the clusters in those areas. And from then on, I knew that some 300 of them would be severely affected. And from that, actions were triggered. That night, I tried phoning everyone that could possibly help us. Those that have been contracted to provide services, those that have been engaged before to provide us assistance. But no one can help us because they themselves were affected. Anyway, as I went through the list, my directory, I found that a service provider, they were able to provide 2 tourist buses. Those 2 tourist buses were loaded or had teams of doctors, nurses, and security providers. Their mission was to get staff who were in critical areas out of harm's way, bring them to the headquarters. They went back almost empty. One, because the roads leading to out of the headquarters or the major thoroughfares were virtual parking lots. Next, if we were able to make it somewhere out, we still could not get to our staff because waters were still very deep and we needed something. That day, around noontime, I got a call.